to show you how to break this down quickly. Make sure that it's in semi-automatic. You've got no gas, no BBs, obviously. Make sure it's safety checked. You're going to pull the trigger. Make sure that the mechanism in there is forward, or else you're not going to be able to get it apart. You push this receiver pin through. You pull it out. And then you've got your internals here. All right? And then you can put it back together like that. Make sure it's on semi-automatic so it goes back together no problem. Receiver pin pushes through and you're good to go. So now that it's cocked, I can't open this thing. You have to put it to semi, pull the trigger, and then you can open it from there. To take this rail apart, you pull down on the delta ring here, and then this splits in half. A little bit different than you're used to seeing them split in half, but it comes apart like that. And you can change out everything you want to change out with these nuts and screws there, and it's a really easy system to work with. To put it back together, you just reverse the process of taking it apart. Okay, time elapse about 15 seconds. Here it is back together, no problem. We're going to take this apart further and get into some of the internals so you can see how it works. From there, to take out your trigger assembly, make sure this is on semi, you just push that through. And this comes right out, just like that. Grab a hold of your trigger, push, and out comes your trigger assembly. If you want to break this down even further, it's very easy to do. You just find where this plastic comes together there, and you're going to pry that apart there, and grab these tabs here and here and pry those apart there. We've worked this one over a bit, so it comes apart with our fingers. With your new one, you'll probably have to use like a flathead screwdriver and just be gentle. And there's your whole trigger system there. Nothing pops out at you, nothing flies across the room, lost forever. It's all right there. Simple, big moving parts. A very inherently reliable system. Put it back together, you line up the pins on all the sides, press, and you're done. Slides right back in. You're good to go. To take apart this up here, remove that large bolt, pull the charging handle back, and the whole thing just comes right out. Let's break down this hop up so you can know what you're working with. First thing you need to do is open up your dust cover by cocking the handle here. Then you're going to get your Allen key that fits in your hop up adjustment screw, and you're going to unscrew it completely from the receiver. And once you have it all the way out, set it aside and don't lose it. After you've unscrewed your hop-up adjustment screw completely from the body and removed it, you need to turn your gun upside down. But before you do that, your hop-up is going to come at you out of this hole right here. But before you do that, take a peek inside. There's a little line there. Make sure that you know where that line is oriented, because when you put it back together, it needs to be the same way. Turn it upside down, and out your hop-up comes. Now I want to show you guys how this works a little bit. So as you screw your adjustment screw in more and more, it engages more and more of this taper here, pushing it down further. And this spring-loaded piece allows it to spring back into place as the BBs follow through. Okay, this is important. That ridge in there that looks like a flathead screwdriver is to help you orient your adjustment port. This hash line needs to be parallel with your adjustment screw, and the spring-loaded plastic part needs to be facing your ejection port. Now we're going to access the inner barrel and the hop-up bucking. First thing you need to do is remove your rail. Then you need to remove your barrel nut. And for that, you're going to need your armorer's tool. So the best way I've found to remove this barrel nut when these things are on there from the factory really tight is to put it right on a table or a workbench, just like that. From here, you retract the barrel nut, retract the delta ring. You put your armorer's tool into the teeth of your barrel nut, and then righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it breaks loose just like that. From there, you loosen it up until you can articulate the threads with your fingers, and then off it comes. Now, what just fell out are these metal half washers here that engage the barrel like this, and we'll show you more on that when we put it back together. So we'll put these aside for now, don't lose them. And then out the outer barrel comes, and put some pressure on the inner barrel. Your inner barrel and your hop-up bucking come out just like that. And this slides right out. And there you go. Now let's check out how this hop-up bucking works. This piece of plastic is split in two. You just pull that off. Pull that off right there. And then you can slide the bucking right off the inner barrel. This looks like a very high quality bucking. It's nice soft material. We haven't had too many problems with it. You can see inside that it's not a flat bucking. There is a nub there. Looking at your inner barrel here, you've got your barrel window where the nub will press down onto the bucking and your BBs will go through there and the backspin is applied. Now to put this all back together, this is the part that, it helps to have seen it once to do it. You've got a groove here on the bottom of your inner barrel. That groove lines up with a groove, like a ridge on the inside of your hop-up. You line those up, it'll click like into place there, and push it until your nub engages the window. From there, you've got a ridge on the bottom of this plastic piece with the lug on it. And that engages with that horizontal ridge and that vertical ridge so that you know you're centered. The other half goes on, and you're ready to put it back in to the outer barrel. This nub on this plastic, or this lug if you want to call it that, engages with this cutout on the bottom of your outer barrel. From there, you insert it into your receiver, like so, and it clicks into place in one way. From here, you reapply your half washers, like so, and your barrel nut slides right over the top. Screw that down all the way. And then you're going to screw it tighter using your barrel wrench. Now this is important. You've got all these teeth here, okay? An opening, and not a tooth, like a recess in these teeth, has to line up with the top of your barrel. And the reason is because your RIS is going to engage these teeth so it doesn't wobble back and forth. So now I've got this recess right here lined up dead center with the top of my receiver right there. And to check to make sure it's all square and even and level, put one half of your rail back on. And we're square. Install your other half. You're ready to put your hop-up unit and your adjustment screw back in there.
Alright guys, what we're going to show you is how to change over from the CO2 magazine method to the remote line method. It's a pretty simple process. We're just going to go through it quick for you. You pop out your rear receiver pin, break your gun down in half here. There's a small little Allen head right here. grab your Allen head wrenches. They do include some, but I'm just using mine right now. You unscrew this. Screw comes out, keep that, you're going to need it. The entire CO2 cartridge assembly and puncture valve all slides out right here. And this is the piece that you're going to put back in. This you're just going to set aside. Now you also will get this. This will come with it. You want to make sure that the side with the O-ring is going into this unit here. Once you have that, you slide this back in here. And then you reinsert your screw that we just pulled out with the Allen head. Make sure you don't cross-thread it, obviously. Okay, now that part's done. You can close up the receiver, reconnect your receiver pin, and then it's down to the bottom. There's a little plug here to keep the gas from coming out the bottom. Just get your Allen head in there, unscrew it. That's your little plug. You should seal this with Teflon tape, same with the piece you're putting in. I'm not going to do that right now, just for purposes of the video. Screw in your new piece. Tighten it down with a wrench. Get it nice and snug, don't over tighten it. And you are all set to use your larger 20-ounce CO2 tank, 9-ounce, 12-ounce, whatever you decide to roll with, HPA. But that's it. Pretty simple process, pretty quick. You can bring all the parts with you right out to a field, which is kind of nice.
An aspect of this gun that requires a fair amount of tuning, and an aspect that a lot of people are having some trouble with, is adjusting the rate of fire. So I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. The first thing you want to do is screw this adjustment screw all the way in. Now don't force anything, but get it so that it is all the way down. So now once it's all the way down, you're going to insert the Allen head, the Allen key, so that it's lined up with something. So I've got mine basically lined up with the bore axis right here. And you're going to start off with it 2 full turns out. So that's half, 1, 1.5, 2 full turns out. Once it's 2 full turns out, close it back up. Gas it up. Charge it. So now that, to my ear, is a little bit slow. If you want to use a chronograph to check exactly how fast it's shooting, and you want to make it realistic, for example, a Real Steel M4 is rated at shooting between 12 and 15 rounds per second, so that's what we'll be going for. But coincidentally, it's about how fast this can shoot maxed out. So we're going to degas it, take it apart. And I want this to go a little bit faster, so I'm going to turn it 1/8 of a turn in. We'll try it again. That's pretty good right there. But it's not consistent. So we're going to have to turn it down a bit. So now we're in the sweet spot. We're very close to getting this thing perfect. So what we want to try and find is a point that's between where we were before the adjustment and where we are now after the adjustment. So I'm going to be adjusting in 30 seconds of a turn. So I'll start off someplace that I know I'm at. Well, I can't use the bore axis just because the Allen head isn't oriented in that direction, so I'll just look at it right from there. 30 seconds. 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 30 secon tiny, tiny increments. Can't stress that enough. All right, that'll do it. To adjust the FPS of the gun, what you're going to do is drop the magazine, clear any rounds from the chamber, degas the gun, and then split the receivers. And then what you're going for here is a little tiny screw right there. There, that Allen head is your FPS adjustment screw. It's always best to adjust your hop up with a friend if you possibly can to get another set of eyes on the BB's trajectory. Fire off a couple of rounds, and you can see that my BBs are hooking down really hard, so I need more hop. I got my hop up adjustment wrench here, and I'm gonna go in with the hop up adjustment screw. Still need more hop. I'd just like to say a huge thanks to Airsoft Tactical for letting us use their facilities to do a range and accuracy test. It was super helpful to be able to have that in a huge open space with no wind. Stay tuned for more on Doc. You're watching Dr. Nielsen.
Now do the whole thing all over again with the flashlight off.
I know. I didn't even think about that. It's staying.
You're watching Dr. Nielsen.
Don't forget, this is the broken wrist. You're watching Dr. Nielsen. He's almost like pointing over here.